big deal, right? And my parents actually divorced when I was 11 months old, and they remarried shortly after. And so I had 4 parents growing up, which I thought was awesome. Like double the presents, double the hugs. I grew up in a great house. Some of you guys grew up in a great house, right? And then some of us, we didn't grow up in a great house. We all have different, pros and cons, hardships. For me, I grew up with loving parents in a middle class. We never wanted for much. We had things. We had toys. We went on little vacations. They weren't the extravagant vacations. They weren't cruises, but we went to the cabins in the summer. We whitewater rafted. Had a good childhood. And then things obviously became very different when I told you guys at 15 years old that I became very ill. And at 15 years old, I fought for my life. I was in the hospital. And one thing that it taught me was the urgency of today. And of what, really understanding the fact that we don't know if there's a tomorrow. So all of a sudden, I knew at 15 to 16 years old, which how many 15 to 16-year-olds know that they're invincible, right? I knew that wasn't the case. And I knew that we had to take care of our body, and we had to take care of our health. And I knew we had to seize the day, seize the moment, that we had one life to live and to take every advantage. And I knew that it was very different from most high schoolers. I was like, high school, so done with this. I matured. I had to mature very quickly. At 16 years old, I lost most of my hair due to medication. I was constantly in and out of the hospital with complications. At the highest point of my illness, I was taking 30 Percocet a day. And you can imagine 120 pounds, which is 20 pounds lighter than I am now, and it didn't even faze me. That's how much pain I was in. And luckily, by the grace of God, I was completely healed and divine. This is not by doctors, this is not by surgeons or anything, but literally God healed me in a moment, and I've been medication-free for now 8 years. 8 years. And, but I will say that growing up with 2 amazing sets of parents, my dad was the American dream. My dad started a business, a brick-and-mortar business, a salon. And he's been in the hair industry, the salon industry for longer than I've been alive. I always joke, I grew up in a shampoo bowl. and then, so he went in the route of really starting your own business, traditional business. And I saw that ravage my dad's health, his marriage, his psychological health. You can think about it. He put his entire life nest egg in the hands of 25 to 27-year-old women. No offense, right? You can imagine, his whole, surrounding. Well, what do 25 and 27-year-old women want to do? Get married and have babies, right? So, his security was there, and he still, at 63 years old, is working 60 hours a week. He still has a $700,000 bill, debt, on a business that does $1.5 million a year. So, I knew at 9 years old that I wanted to be filthy rich. And I wanted to be wildly successful. How many of you guys knew at 9 years old you wanted to be wildly successful? Right? The rest of you guys wanted to be poor? Right? I knew at 9. How many of you guys knew at 8 years old you're playing the Matchbox car? You're I'm going to have a Ferrari. How many of you guys had the Matchbox car? And the women, how many of you guys, you had the dream wedding, right? The honey. The fortune. Yes, right? The fortune game. Carlson, everybody. I remember, playing the game of life and accruing all, I wanted to have, what was the most expensive for the doctor? I wanted to get the doctor profession, and I wanted to I didn't want to have kids, or all those sort of little things of the game of life, right? I knew at 8, 9 years old, I wanted to be successful. But I saw my dad, and I'm I don't want to do that. I knew at a young age that was not for me. And my mom, on the other hand, she had her stance in some real estate and some business, but she really went the direction of corporate. 9 to 5, which you guys all know is 8 to 6. And what I saw year after year with her was that she actually was working harder, usually would take more responsibilities. She'd get promotions, which meant less pay usually, really, at the end of the day, and more hours, and more headaches, and more politics. And so at 9, 8, 10, 12, 11, I knew I wanted to be successful, but I knew that I didn't want to be like either of them. So it was at 21 that Josh introduced me to the concept of working from home and working in your own business. company, and some of you guys have heard the story. It was a technology company, a really cool product. And you know, I was at a training almost this exact size. In 2006. I sat in the training at the Phoenix Marriott with 81 people in the room. And I saw guys on stage making $30,000 a month in that company. And I got started based on a failure equation. Because I looked at him and he was 60 years old or 55 years old, he was making 30 grand a month, bald-headed. And I'm like, I'm 21, and I'm like, if that guy can make 30 grand a month, if it takes me 5 years, which at 21 is a really long time, if I could get to 3 grand a month, which was 90% failure, if I could just do 10% of what he did right, in the next 5 years, I would be able to quit my job. Because I was making 3 grand a month being a retail manager. So I got started in network marketing based on a failure equation. If I just fail his results by 90%, I will still be doing better than I am, commuting 2.5 hours a day, working for a bipolar boss in a job that I hated with a complete ceiling to it. I mean, what's the best you're going to do at a retail? Assistant manager. That's about it. That's all where it stops. Maybe regional manager. There wasn't more than one location. I had a cap. And so for me, like, I said, this is my way. And I heard the term for the first time in my life of residual income. They never taught me that in school. I mean, you guys never got taught residual income in school. They didn't have Wealth 1 and Wealth 2 in high school. If they did, I would have signed up for both classes. They didn't have that. They didn't even teach how to balance a checkbook in my high school. No, we learned about dangling participles. Trapezoids. Do any of you guys use, like, trigonometry at all? The engineer. I was like, when am I ever going to use this? When am I ever going to use this in real life? But I knew I wanted to be successful. This industry gave me a vehicle that I actually got to learn how to be successful. And it was actually at trainings like this that at 21 years old that I got started in, that I saw the vision, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to give this my all for 5 years. What have I got to lose? If I fail 90% from that guy who's bald-headed, old, like, he ain't that special, it's the ego talking, then I'll be as successful as I was full-time in my full-time job that I hated. So I got started on that failure equation. And so my first 30 days coming out of that Saturday 81-person event, I was a rip-roaring failure. And you guys know how many people I signed up in my first 30 days in network marketing? 0! After doing 2 to 6 presentations a day, we didn't have an overview, we didn't have a video, you had to actually talk through a 30-minute script, sit down with somebody in front of a computer, and show them the program. I did 2 to 6 of those a day, a walkthrough, and I signed up 0 people. I didn't quit. The next month, fortunes in the follow-up, I ended up signing up 12 people. From there, 15, 16, continued on. Within a couple months, I was making over 3 grand a month, and I stayed at about that level for about 4.5 years. And, you know, it's one thing that I'm so grateful for, is that even though that business was not my future, it wasn't my passion, it wasn't my fortune, it wasn't my promised land, it wasn't anything like this. It gave me the base of understanding the value of personal development, of raising skill, of plugging into trainings, and to grow your value. And today, that's what I want to teach you, how to grow your value. Today, we're going to give you everything that we feel that we can give you in a couple of hours so that you can go close more, so that you can go inspire more, so that you can lead better, and ultimately, so you guys can get to where you need to get to by vitality. Some of you guys have a goal by vitality, right? Woo. Now, the first exercise that we're going to do is, it's going to be more of a breakout session. I'm going to have 4 questions for you, so you're going to write these 4 questions down. How many of you guys like the books? So you guys want to go to the legal pad, probably, on this. This isn't an actual section. We're just going to kind of fly with this one. The first question I want you to, or first thing I want you to answer right after you is, the last 90 days, since January 1, what was your #1 success in Vitalis? Some of you guys have only been in for 3 weeks. So maybe your #1 success was getting here. But since January 1st, what was your #1 success with your business? What was your #1 success? Just one, your top success. Second question, what was your #1 failure? What was the #1 failure since January 1st, the last 90 days? See, part of leadership is there's 2 types of leaders. There's leaders that play the game full force all the way start to finish, and then there's halftime coaches. And today, right now, we have to all be a halftime coach. This is our halftime decision, right? It's been 90 days, our first quarter, our first season. Now we're in the locker room. Now is the time to make adjustments. Now is the time to say, this play was working great. This formation was working great. We're not going to run that play again. They're owning us on the layup. They're owning us on the slot route, right? So this is our halftime adjustment. So #1 success, #1 failure. This third question, where do you want to be by vitality? Where do you want to be by vitality? Meaning, what is your goal by vitality? Rank, ideally. A goal's got to be measurable, it's got to be specific, and it's got to have a date. You just nailed all that. Measurable, specific, and a date. The fourth question, what's the number, or what has to change in you to get to that goal? What has to change in you to get to that goal? Who do you have to become in order to get to that rank? And you guys know, remember you popped it? How many guys have felt good to throw down that bag, right? Like, no more. And this is your time to be honest with yourself. You got them down? #1 success, #1 failure, your rank or goal by vitality. And #4 is what needs to change in you. Now I need all the ambassadors and presidents and directors to join me at the front. All ambassadors and presidents and directors, join me at the front. All ambassadors and presidents and directors. You're a president and director, right? Join me at the front. Go on up. I know for your recordings, Brittany, can I use you?
Yeah.
All right. Monkey? Oh. All presidential directors and ambassadors in the front.
You think I was listening with my
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to break out into small groups. So we're all going to assign a number. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, etc. And then we're going to go through and we're going to go for each row and give you a number. Here's where the concentration part is important. You guys got to remember your number.
Right.
You got to remember your number. And then sometimes I'll go to you guys and you'll like say a number and then like 2 seconds later you're like, what number did I just say? Okay? Then what we're going to do, we're going to keep it quiet, right? Listen. And then once everyone's got their number, we're going to spread out to the corners of the room. I don't want to mess with the chairs too much. We have enough room in here. We'll spread out to the corners with your team leader. And then we're going to take 3 minutes each. 3 minutes each to share the stories. I'm going to be the time clock, so I'm not going to be in a group. So I'll do every 3 minutes. I'm going to give you guys a little warning. Hey, 3 minutes is up. So this is your time to go individually and share what's on your paper. Now, one thing I'll say, guys, this is a safe place. This is a safe place, isn't it? Right. This is a place where we honor each other. This is a place where we are a family. This is a place where you can be honest and transparent. Guys, chances are somebody across from you in the group is going through the exact same thing. And they need to hear what you need to hear. This is a time that's not about ego. You got to take the ego off. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go through. You guys yell out your number nice and loud and hold it up. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
7, 8. Write it down.
4, 5.
7. 8.
Together?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible to do together. Two.
3, 4,
5. 8.
1,
2.
3,
4.
5.
6. 7. Wait.
We'll get you guys going.
What? 8. We have 7. We're 8.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot that.
I think you should split. 7. 8. Oh, I told you. Oh, my blue side just like when I I'm like order and precision. That's awesome. Okay, so what you guys are gonna do? We'll have you guys go on to you guys see your person, point to your leader. Okay, all right. 60 seconds. Get in your team. Get a team name.
What's up?
If he doesn't know